Dino, why do you think student immigrants are good for this country?
Because I'm one of them.
Thank you for stopping by, amazing viewer. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I bring to you a compilation of TikTok and Red Note videos for educational purposes. I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok. A quick background on the creator. As you can see, it's an interracial couple. So their page is mainly based on the wife asking the husband pertinent questions. But this time, she took it an extra mile. The question was personal. Like the video, and let's watch this together. There is a lot to unpack here.
Dino, why do you think student immigrants are good for this country?
Because I'm one of them.
You are. No, but seriously.
Okay, come on. CEO of Microsoft, CEO of Google. You know, love or hate the guy, Elon Musk, right? Captains of industry, right?
Nvidia.
Jensen Huang. They're all immigrants. They were all here immigrants in one shape or form. They were immigrant students that came here to go to college or to get higher education and then never left and then got into industry, and look what they've created. I mean, I could keep going on and on and on.
Well, this is not my opinion, but I see commenters, people comment on TikTok saying like, oh, well, those jobs should go to an American. What would you say to that?
You shouldn't. That doesn't make any sense. How much growth? How much economic activity?
How many jobs have they created?
Exactly. They've created so much value in this country. How could you say that it's better if there was an American, a naturally born,
natural citizen.
born citizen here is better than, naturalized citizens.
Jensen Huang.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? They're Americans.
Let the best man.
But they came here. They're first and foremost, they're Americans. They've created these great companies that have brought so much prosperity, advancement, wealth to the country, to so many people, and they're Americans now. So you can't look at them like, oh my God, they're foreigners. No, they came here to go to school. Like me, I came here to go to school. But I saw, the cool thing about this country is the opportunities that I got. I came from a country where if you don't have the right last name and you don't know the right people, you're not going to make it. I mean, you are, but not like here. It's just like work your ass off, have a study, and you have a shot. And these are, I guarantee you, every one of these people, that are immigrants now who are working here, they feel the same way. This is a privilege to work. In fact, we look at it. I looked at it here as a privilege to get this education here and to work here. It's a privilege. I don't take that for granted, not for 1 second.
Okay.
If there's one thing that I don't want us to ignore, is what he has just mentioned there. America is a land of opportunities, and we shouldn't ignore that. It has given opportunities to so many people. This is a pass, This is something that I would give a thumbs up to America.
But I saw, the cool thing about this country is the opportunities that I got.
But how did they start giving people opportunities? How did it start? How did Asian American came to America? How did all the minority groups came to America? Let's go back into history. I love how Americans always refer to history as they're trying to understand the situation in their country. So let's go back into history.
All right, I see that some people in my comment section needed a lesson on the model minority myth, so we're going to talk about it. I can't understand how, to a lot of Black and brown people, the way that Asians get treated in this country appears that we've assimilated to being white, but that is far from the truth. The first Asians that immigrated to the US basically came as indentured servants to build the railroads. A lot of them were tricked into doing so and were paid basically nothing and had their braids cut off and endured lots of hate crimes, weren't able to bring our women over. So the first wave of Asian immigrants from at least China were men. A lot of them were from the south of China, and they started these Chinatowns in many cities, basically because they weren't allowed to assimilate into white society. White people wanted Asians completely separate from them because they saw us as dog-eating little freaks. And I'm not Japanese, but I will talk briefly about the Japanese-American internment during World War II, where thousands and thousands of Japanese Americans who were American citizens got sent to concentration camps. And a lot of other ethnicities of Asian were caught up in the Japanese American internment. Like, don't think that, they didn't mistake us all for each other because they can't tell the difference between different ethnicities. Also, a lot of this stuff against Asian people was happening as Black Americans were getting freed from chattel slavery. So this is the very beginning of when they start to pit all these minorities against each other in this country to maintain white supremacy. They lost the labor of a lot of enslaved Black people, so they started importing Asians to build the railroads. Anyway, the model minority stuff started happening actually within the last few decades. And it started basically in response to Black people escaping segregation and the integration of universities and schools. And the model minority myth about us is basically a way to put Black people down. It's a way of saying, like, oh, look at this other group of non-white people. They're doing so well as compared to you guys who, Black Americans have had 400 years of bullshit. And even now are still dealing with things like drug plants in their communities and like school to prison pipeline. And we won't even talk about the way that the entire police state was basically a way of catching like freed Black people. And so what did the US start doing around this time of desegregation? They started allowing all of these Asian students, like the best and brightest from Asian countries like China, Vietnam War refugees, Korean War refugees, all of these Asian people. They started allowing more Asian immigration into this country and allowing them access to higher education and things like that. And then the Asians started doing well. And what did they do then? They went around to Black people and said like, oh, the Asians could do it. Why couldn't you? So don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. They hate us too. It's just that the hate looks different. So different communities might not be able to recognize the ways in which other communities are oppressed. Their racism against us looks so much more like adoration, like saying that we work hard, like Asian men work so hard, like look at how smart and nerdy they are that are helping us to create this like cyber police state. Look at Asian women, they're so sexually submissive. We love them. Trust me, that is not love. That has led to me personally being sexually assaulted by white men more times than I can count. The way that white men with an Asian girlfriend will stare at me on the street just because I'm a little bit bigger, like I'm 5'8". They look at me strange. No, I will never be white. I don't plan to marry a white person, but even if I did, I still wouldn't be white. And as for the Asians that have continually voted against our own interests and have tried to throw Black people under the bus, like with the affirmative action thing, with the LA riots, trust me, there are people like me taking care of those idiots within our own community. I hate what they did. I agree. Anti-Blackness within Asian communities is like a huge fucking problem. And if we spent more time just listening to Black people and to look at the amount of times in US history that they have come in and saved our asses. And if Latinx people were also able to fight off white supremacy and that really colonial way of thinking and come together with the rest of us, then white supremacy would no longer be a thing in this country. But yeah, anyway, model minority myth, Asians will never be white. No matter how much we assimilate, they're always going to use us as a pawn against other racial minorities. And in the hypothetical case, if they ever like get everything they want against Black and brown people, trust me, they're going to come for us next. And more Asians need to understand that.
Yes, this is really important. Asian Americans were redlined from opening businesses in white neighborhoods because white people didn't want Asian Americans operating in their neighborhoods and didn't want Asian Americans profiting off of white people. But because the positionality of Asian Americans is weaponized to oppress Black people, Asian Americans were being given loans to open businesses in Black communities, even though Black people were not able to receive loans to open businesses in their own communities. And as I've said before, as a result of this, Black wealth is essentially paid out twice when it goes to Asian American businesses. Once when the individual pays for the goods or services, and then again when the Asian American business owner removes the profit from the community. Because usually people open businesses in their own communities, and this is mutually beneficial, where the business owner is making a livelihood off of providing goods and services to their community. And by being a member of the community, they're contributing and they're investing back into the community. This is an ideal situation, and that is not what happens with Asian American businesses operating in Black communities.
So now it's all international students that are now barred from entering the US. First, it was Harvard as retaliation for basically Harvard refusing to give over our information to the administration. And now it's all universities. As an Asian lady who teaches at Harvard, I have some opinions about this. We all know that the Orange Man has been trying to cripple science and higher education in general because he wants to have a fascist dictatorship where nobody knows what's going on or has critical thinking skills or can oppose him. But I think this is also a huge move against the Asian American community. He's been going after basically every minority, like women, Black Americans, Latino Americans, all using sort of like their own agencies. Like, there's ICE for certain groups, there's the police for other groups, and there's the DOJ for us. A lot of recent Asian immigration to this country has been through the education system, higher education, where people come here for an undergraduate or a graduate degree and stay. My parents are some of these people. They immigrated over in the 80s. And now I teach mostly graduate students because I teach PhD students and most of them are international. I can pretty confidently say that these are the planet's best and brightest. A lot of them are ESL and they're just writing entire papers in their second language and publishing them in scholarly journals and making a huge impact on science across the world. A ton of them are Asian. And this is gonna cripple our immigrant communities. And then he's also gonna start going after US citizens who look international at these higher education institutions. That means people like me. For a lot of Asian kids growing up in the motherland, the US is like their dream for higher education. It is known for having the best universities in the world, the most freedom of thought, or like so we used to consider us. It's no longer like that. Everybody's going to start going other places. They're going to go to like Oxford, Cambridge, the big universities in Europe, big universities in Asia. At least half of the scientists that I'm friends with are planning to go abroad for their next career move. So like US citizens who are in higher education are starting to like think about going elsewhere, hence brain drain. But yeah, back to my original point. He is retaliating against Asian people for this. Don't think for a second that he didn't know about that study a couple months ago, or that survey that showed that certain groups of Asian Americans are out-earning white Americans by a lot. Like, for example, I think Indian Americans are currently the highest income group in the entire country. Our domination in certain professions like medicine and our high enrollment at top universities, definitely his fan base is mad about that and he's coming after us for it. Even on very like neoliberal publications such as the New York Times, I'm seeing comments that say like, why does Harvard have such a huge international student body? These should be spots for Americans. We shouldn't have so many foreigners at our universities. They're 100% including American citizens who look like me as foreigners when they say these things. They don't realize that so much of the research that gets done at these universities is done by foreign students, and that at least for undergrad and for a lot of advanced degree programs, foreign students have to pay more tuition than American students do because that is like partly subsidizing the domestic students who are on financial aid. And to the Asian Americans who voted for this orange motherfucker, honestly, we started shooting ourselves in the foot a long time ago. Whoever those fucktards were who brought the case against Harvard for discriminating against Asian students in admissions and then completely got rid of affirmative action. Are people getting admitted to Harvard more now? Like, look at what just happened. Look at what just happened. We're going to have fewer Asians at these universities just by virtue of A, discrimination against Asian Americans, and B, the Asians from abroad not being able to come here anymore. Are you done blaming Black and Latino excellence for your mediocrity, you Asian people who voted for this? Have we noticed that the real problem, which is legacy admissions, which mainly favors white people, have we noticed that that has not been targeted at all? Have you noticed that these students have like literally nothing going against them? Have you noticed that the president has not set any government agency to specifically target those legacy people, those moneyed white kids? I know of so many adults in my own community, Chinese American, who voted for this because they secretly think that they're better than other minorities in this country, including other Asian Americans. They think that people like the Bhutanese refugees who got deported to Central America have nothing to do with us, but they literally don't know that the people in charge can't tell the difference between us and other nationalities of Asian. Just because we immigrated here on a plane to come and study at a prestigious US university doesn't make us any better than refugees. Okay, stay awake. Bye.
Hey, international students, by no exaggeration, are the foundation for world peace. We often say and agree,
but today, that promise of a connected world is giving way to division, fear, and conflict.
Okay, this being Pride Month in the United States, I think that it's important for us to mention this. The US is a country that takes pride in being multiracial. It takes pride in that. And for them, giving citizenship to different races is their pride. It's what makes them the United States. I feel like this country holds a good name, United States. But what I am observing from this is what is supposed to be a diverse unity has quickly turned into division. and which is so unfortunate. Division informs so many things, that so many issues that Americans are going through right now, and which is so unfortunate. And whenever as we're Africans want to speak on these issues, I could always see comments in the comment section from Americans telling me an African cannot tell me about unity. Guys, if you are to speak about Africans and unity, the people who are intruders and who bring disunity in Africa are still the same people who set you against each other in your country. So I really don't want to get into politics right here, but I want this to be a fun channel. Guys, be free. I don't want you to agree with what I'm saying, but this is what I've observed. And if we are not united, if Americans aren't united, as the country implies, United States, united in diversity, nothing will ever change. So to embrace change, we need to embrace unity, and that's how things will change. We don't know how the change of policy will happen with what is happening right now anyway.
When the richest man in the world wants to start a fight with the most powerful man in the world, who do you think's gonna win? Elon and Trump are beefing, and it ain't no rap beef. This is empire level ego warfare. See, Trump is used to using people like chew toys. Say something he doesn't like, you're done. Problem is, Elon is not Rudy Giuliani. You can't just throw billions of dollars, satellites, and platforms in the trash. And Elon, he's not used to anybody telling him no, especially when his followers hang on every word like scripture. Now we got two men with cult followings, massive egos, and more power than sense, trying to publicly humble each other.
I don't want to give my opinion on this clip, but now the beef that is happening with his billionaire friend is now, it's really, anyway, it's really mind-blowing. This is Pride Month, and this is what we are seeing on social media. Guys, what are you communicating? Pure division. It didn't come from me, you saw, and yeah, and it has created so many headlines, and I don't want to make a headline out of that, because I'm not here to promote disunity. Thank you so much for being here. I love and appreciate you. It has been an awesome time once more sharing this video with you. I'm learning as well. Thank you so much. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Let's interact, and let's make a positive change in our society. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.